Alright guys, Papa Pepper here with another one of the Wild Man's Wild Friends. This is one of my all-time favorite turtles. This is the Western Painted Turtle. Now, painted turtles, there's quite a few subspecies of the painted turtle kind. They can be found pretty much all across North America from coast to coast in different patches, from up in Canada all the way down into Mexico. And these ones here that I'm catching in Wisconsin happen to be the Western Painted Turtle. This one here was caught by a provider and saved for me because he knew I was coming up, and as you can see, it's a little angry. They've got a good sharp beak. You can see the length of their neck there too. When they get turned over on their back, they'll take their neck and tip it backwards and use it as like a kickstand to kick themselves over. These guys have just incredibly beautiful colors on their head, on their neck, arms, and of course across their shell too. I also found these little ones, but I mean, just look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. And if you look just at the sides of those turtles too, just incredibly beautiful. I love the coloration of these guys. So anyway, the females will get up to about 10 inches. This one here happens to be a male. The females will have shorter claws, which they use for digging when they lay the eggs and stuff, and the males will have a smaller body, shorter claws. There's some differences in the tails and stuff too. Like I said, they can get up to about 11 inches on the female, and actually a lot of the ones you're going to see out and about, moving on the roads, that type of stuff, a lot of times they're going to be the females earlier in the year, looking for a place to lay their eggs. It's best just to let them go about their business. You know, don't run over them. Don't pick them up and relocate them somewhere else. You know, if you're going to move them, just move them off to the side of the road. But sometimes too with the females, you can actually stick your fingers right here in front of the back legs and you can feel their little eggs in there. So they'll lay their eggs in a nice sandy, sunny place often, and little babies will come hatching out later. These guys are omnivores. So they're going to be eating different plant materials, but also different creatures. They'll eat things like crayfish and little minnows. Sometimes they'll snack on dead things. You may be able to catch them on a fishing pole with a worm or a minnow for bait, things like that. But they're also going to eat some of the vegetation and stuff out there in the water. And I think these turtles actually need to swallow underwater too, so they're not going to be able to swallow on dry land. So don't try to keep one as a pet in just a terrarium or something like that. As far as predators, the young get eaten by almost anything. They're tiny shelled little turtles, and they're still soft at that point, so great blue herons, bullfrogs, snakes, other turtles, a variety of other birds, and of course your general mammals are going to be munching on them too. But even as they get bigger, you know, raccoons, foxes, other things will eat bigger ones too. You know, largemouth bass and other fish will gobble up the little ones. One this size doesn't really have to worry about it. They got a pretty good, you know, shell. But a good thing to remember too is that this shell is actually part of their skeleton. So the backbone runs right down here on the inside. So you know, tapping on the shell and stuff is like hitting them in the bone. So that's something you definitely don't want to do with these guys. So they're going to be a cold-blooded creature. And you can see how incredibly long the claws on this one are. But they're cold-blooded, so they hibernate for the winter. And then a lot of times, to get their energy for the day, you're going to find them up on logs, you know, or up on the shore. You'll be able to look out, see just a bunch of shells sometimes piled up. And when they get heated up and comfortable enough with their body temperature and the energy that they have, they'll take off swimming in the water again. I've found these in so many different lakes and stuff up here. Actually, the part of Arkansas we live in does not have any version of the painted turtle. There's an eastern, a western, a midland, some others, but we don't have one at all in our area. So it's nice to be back up here. I remember as a child, I would often, you know, catch a ton of these all summer long. I'd sneak out in the swamp and pretty much have my nose and up sticking out of the water and head out after these guys. And I just did a how to catch a turtle video that shows you guys one way to catch these. I'm going to try to get in the swamp, kind of a mud hole, to do a nice one with some snapping turtles too, but we'll see if it works. So just another one of the Wild Man's Wild Friends. Alright, Papa out.